Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. As soon as we start this program, you have the power to pick up the telephone and give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socioeconomic issues. If you want to speak about Israel and Hamas, Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, Syria, they do not recognize Israel's right to exist. They believe that the only place for the Jews is the bottom of the sea. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
I have two problems.
Go right ahead.
I have a Eva here. She come in when she wants. And next thing is, I was listening to Sheldon Scott program, and he said you have an elder citizen lady in Southern, and she has some ulcers. And the nurse and them taking 9 months before they come, and a man out to him and say, like, you don't lie in them because that does happen to me too.
They're supposed to come. What time they supposed to come and check you?
Well, they're not supposed to come twice a week.
But sometimes they don't come in at all?
Yeah?
Sometimes they don't come in for the week?
Sometimes they don't come at all for the week.
Yeah. And you have the telephone number to call them? They tell you why? They tell you what is the problem?
No. The lady living just up there, and she won't send up and say, no coming.
It's something, maybe you have to call them to find out.
I don't have a phone number for them.
Which area you live?
That's happening, that happened since in NMP time.
Which area you live?
Union, St. Andrews.
Oh yes, I find the voice song in us, yeah. In Union. So that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we will continue. We will continue to talk about these things and see if it makes any difference to the air.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's an important thing. If you have to check an ulcer at least twice a week, it needs checking. Sometimes they check it Monday and Wednesday or Monday and Friday or something. It's an important thing for you to get hold of the nurse number, and if you could engage them and have some dialogue. Sometimes they claim they have challenge, they short staff, they don't have the necessary material, and the nurse may not tell you that, they just don't show up. That is the challenge we have in our society. And we need people in the society to care for the sick, to look after the physically challenged, to look after the disadvantaged. In yesteryear, we had some women in the community, they used to call them Old Motel, River Stone. The village could have cried on their shoulders. Irrespective of what happened in the community, people could have got a meal by them, something to eat. Even though it's some nuts in their hand they're giving you. Today in our society, we have much more food, but we have more people hungry. We have much more food in this society today. We have more vehicles. We have more facilities. But we have much more people that can get a ride to go to the medical station. And sometimes even the nurses in the medical station, they can get a ride to go to the people they have to go to. I see the nurses walking sometimes. Sun is hot. To go to a visit, an individual passing them with their cars. They wouldn't even volunteer to give the nurse a ride. I spoke to one nurse. She said not everybody that does want them in a vehicle. So if they know them, they might ask for a ride. This is how selfish our society has become. These factors would contribute to greater social decadence. Let me give you an example. In yesteryear, we had wayward boys. But they did not used to sleep by the roadside. If they didn't have no place to sleep, they go to the bouquins. Some of the planters that had bouquin, they tolerated these orphans to sleep in the bouquin. They had benefit because they could have been yard boys for them. And they're able to sleep in the bouquin. And with all these boys around, nobody can thief the cocoa or nutmeg. But in addition to that, those boys became some yard boys. And food was not a problem. When you go in Moya, you had Betty. The boys in the community spoke about her. They said they could have gone to her house anytime. And she'll give them food or something to eat. In Parklet, you had Cousin Elvie, Mami Ann, Kepo. In Ticolo, you had Tilaita. In today's society, people have gates. They might have a big dog there. And they're passing around with their cars. Well, it makes hot, so it's justified to have the air conditioner up. And it's their car, you can't tell them what to do. But although they live in the community, they abscond from the community. They're not part of the community. So the individual who perhaps gone to prison, he cursed Miss James, he threatened to kill her. And he thief Miss Mary Fowl. Nobody in the community cares about him. So he's hungry in a community that have a lot of food. Every house he passes, food is cooking. Whether it's pea soup, or fried chicken, or oil dung, or beef soup, he's smelling it. But he is not welcome in the very community where he born. So he thief in the community. He feel justified. He said nobody in the community don't like him. Everybody in the community against him. I had the practical example to see 3 elderly men a Christmas day cooking some fig and blogger with a piece of chicken and an onion. Well, they had a bottle of rum and a cigarette and they're having a good time. Christmas Day. The community have a lot of food. But there are a lot of people in the community that is hungry. Every day you see that. You wonder why the people are thieving you. Well, they are strangers in their own community. The doors is not open to them. The sister is sick. She have ulcers. So much vehicles in the community. Nobody wouldn't help her to go to the medical station. The nurses in the medical station perhaps have to walk. And it's very hot. Sometimes they don't have what it takes. So some people. So if you don't have the clout, if you don't have the clout in the community, you suffer. This is what happened in our community today. You have a lot of selfish individuals. And the government of the day is establishing systematic selfishness. They're not very sensitive. They attack the elderly. They attack the disadvantaged people. Even disadvantaged children was not spared. Over the past couple of years, I've seen growing attacks on the elderly. Whether it's no more in the land that was stolen, or whether the individual in St. Patrick that was chopped up in his land, the elderly people. Whether it's the people in the mouthpiece of the National Democratic Congress that was advocating to throw pee on them, or the motivational speaker and mouthpiece of the NDC that say give them armchair, are those who consider people as classless. When you start to do that in your society, you're creating decadence. Every action have an equal and opposite reaction. If government come in and set the pace and start to treat people with contempt simply because they are marginalized, simply because they are marginalized, the government is treating them with contempt. The government is acting as a catalyst to continue the deterioration of our society. When you go to our schools, 70% of the children that exit schools today, they don't have what it takes to be competitive on the job market. How could we feel comfortable with that? 70% of the children that exit school do not have the basic requirements. Only 15 to 20% have it. No wonder why. Our intelligentsia, academia, and some of our success story abscond the communities. And they believe they're in a new social class. These are the things that we have to change. We don't have to go far. Look at what is going on in Jamaica. The violence level in Jamaica has called John Galt, my partner. It is kind of negative. You tell me Jamaica is a failed state. More and more, there are communities in Jamaica that is functioning under state of emergency. More and more, they're adding to it. Look at the level of violence in Trinidad and the rest of the Caribbean. And we in Grenada is sowing the seed. We're propagating violence for the future. There'll be more violence in the future in Grenada. Because the government come in now and start to propagate the seeds. When you decide to disadvantage the elderly, the physically challenged, disadvantaged children, low-income people that dream about having a house, they dreamt about it. They cannot face the financial institutions. Government go in the United Nations and pledge to have a financial obligation to these people to provide housing for them. Now the government has turned their back on low-income people. More and more, you're going to see more people on our street, sleeping on the street. You're going to find more young men on the street. That is what you're going to find. More young men on the street. You're going to find more young men involved in pretty larceny, sexual crimes, and level of violence. More altercation with the police. Because we are sowing the seeds in our country. I don't know how it's difficult for us to see that. We could change these things. The churches do not have the impact in the community that they had yesteryear. They don't have it anymore because the secular world is growing by leaps and bounds. Selfishness is on the rampant. And the government of Grenada is serving as a catalyst to speed up the process. When these things happen, I appeal to parents. I appeal to parents, and women in particular. You must do more to salvage your children, to save your children. You must do more to give your children the competitive edge. The environment we are in is very hostile, particularly if you are poor, particularly if you don't have clout, particularly if you're not financially successful, particularly if your income is less than $3,000 a month. Particularly, there is a greater chance that your child gets screwed in school. People go to, it's not a question that, I don't think it's a question that people don't have money, because not much money is needed. We have an education system that is relatively free. We have a health system that is relatively free, but you have serious management problem. And you have parents that don't care. They're lackadaisical. They're selfish. They are not prepared to make sacrifice for the future. When you have a people that is not prepared to make sacrifice for the future, your nation is in trouble. Go back and look all through history. The pioneers, the people who invented and created things, they made a lot of sacrifice for the future. And sometimes that is why I beg women in particular to be hungry for education for your children. It is not hard. If you are hungry for education for your child will succeed in school. It's only about 1% of the children in the world that maybe have serious brain challenges that they can learn. And only about 1% that is extra intelligent that have some genetical advantage. The majority of children, if you invest in them, they will succeed. And the best age to start to invest in your child is 5 years. Why do I say 5? Because the government of the day passed laws and say when you're 5 years, you must go to school. But children go into school since they're 2.5. And people say if the child could respond to the environment that is around them, the child could learn. That is why you have a program in Grenada. I don't know if it is on still, or if this government get rid of it, where they send women into the home to deal with children between 6 months and 2.5 years. Within 6 months and 2.5 years, you could help to stimulate the children's brain. But by the time your child is 5 years old, you should start teaching your children music. You don't have to believe me, Ask any teacher if teaching children music is a good thing. And look at them in your eyes when you ask them questions, Don't let them watch you as Maurice Bishop. Maurice Bishop never watch nobody. Anytime he's speaking, he put his eyes up in the air. You don't want to see you. Watch people. Be careful with people that can watch you. When your child is 5 years old, introduce music to your kid. If your child, when the music playing, your child is responding, then the child is ready to be taught music. Send your little children to church. I don't care about hell and heaven. Send them to church. It's a good thing to send your little children to church. And that is the role of the woman. Teach your children music. Make certain by the time your child enters secondary school that that child perhaps could play 2 musical instruments. And you send your children to church and encourage them to join the choir. There are a lot of women, they have men that play in job every day. But the children can't blow the shell. The children whining like plane, And if you hear job songs, capo, capo, pon capo. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yeah, I want you to pass on some information to the Prime Minister for me, please.
You want me to pass on some information to the Prime Minister?
Yeah.
The Prime Minister, I never speak to the Prime Minister in my life.
Well, he's
I just only see the Prime Minister on television.
No, but he is a man that will listen to you because when
then if you then speak on the program and the Prime Minister, but the Prime Minister will entertain somebody like me.
No, he don't listen to you because when you tell him to fire the Minister of Finance.
Oh, well, that was almost necessary. The Prime Minister knew the Minister of Finance that he had was the waste of time. And the only potential we have in the NDC now is Dennis Connell. Okay, NDC best hope is Dennis Connell.
All right. Well, okay,
yes, so let's go.
Let him know that in his constituency now, we have some fellas that are working on the current community center now for 5 weeks. And last Friday, I spoke to some of them, and up to now, they don't get a cent yet. 5 weeks going.
Not so voluntary work they're doing?
No, man. No, not voluntary work. The fellas are working.
Anytime NDC come in power, make people work on this voluntary thing.
No, those guys say they are working. Guys coming as far as from Granada, St. Andrews, and they're not getting paid. 5 weeks now.
And that must be strong NDC fellas too?
Yes, man, I know. And the work closed down as of yesterday.
They finished the work?
No, they finished the work. The fellas and say they ain't coming back until they get paid.
Well, they go pay them. Because
I'm right around the area, right there.
And that is approaching Christmas.
Yeah.
That is one of the challenges we have with the National Democratic Congress. Anytime they come in power, unemployment rise, the economy is in trouble, they're selling assets, and they're cutting social program.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Thank you. That is one of the challenges. That is one of the characters. That is one of the footprints of the National Democratic Congress. Every time they come in power, they cut social program. Unemployment gallop. They sell assets. And the economy in Grenada is in trouble. Every time they come in power. Remember in 2008, 2013 was most spectacular. The economy was in free fall. 110 million unpaid claims in the treasury. They fired them, Imani and them. Unemployment started to gallop. They sold 13 pieces of property to meet current expenditure. They sold what was not theirs. And they sold shares. They didn't have the legal authority to sell. They behave like when men on coke. The woman say she never know she husband on coke. She says she missed the cylinder. When she tell the neighbor that, the neighbor say, mm-hmm. The husband say, call the police. 2 weeks after that, she don't see the stove. She run outside again complaining, the neighbor watching her in a kind of way. All the time, the husband on coke. That is the exact way the National Democratic Congress does be. Rich, the rich income in power. They attack the elderly. $150. Whap! Move out. The physically challenged and even disadvantaged children, they take money from them. So that is a challenge we have in our society. It's not a good thing. We must change it. And we speak because we want the National Democratic Congress to change. It is not good to have this economy go down in free fall again. So I believe they should change that. And the only hope I see in NDC is Comrade Dennis Connell. That is the only hope I see. And I think he must dig deep and come up with solutions to ensure that the economy don't deteriorate much more. That he pay the individuals that are working, they need pay. And the NDC abort the policy of cutting social programs. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller. We lost that caller? You there, caller?
Yeah, I there.
All right.
I believe Pierre get a government with itself. Get a government with itself.
Well, normally, that is what they say, you get the government you deserve. But the challenge, I think, you're a little bit low. Yes, the callers say, believe Grenadians get the government you deserve. In a democratic process, you can't complain. You had the opportunity to go to the polls and vote. From 1984, after the American gave us a second chance. And tomorrow we will celebrate that. And I'm inviting you now to come to Paraclete. The Holy Comforter is the same place Maurice Bishop came and said plant weed. And Fargo take 2 years jail for listening to Maurice Bishop. He come to the Comforter. That is Paraclete, the Holy Spirit. And he lie right in the Holy Spirit place. So we have a harvest up there, Holy Spirit Church, Paraclete. We have our harvest there tomorrow. So come up. Harvest start officially at 1, since 11 o'clock action. Right, so come up to Paraclete. So that is a challenge what we have. They say you get the government you deserve. A lot of time we are not doing enough. We did not. The National Democratic Congress like to plan lies. That is one of the big character traits of the NDC. They like to go in a lab, sit down and planning lies. During that time, instead of planning to how to solve problem, they planning lies. But in this period now, while it is a great challenge to people in the lower income group, to the marginalized, to the 70% of the children that would exit school without having the basic requirement to give them the competitive edge in the marketplace. That is why I appeal to our women. Get hungry for education. You could only salvage, you could talk and salvage some of your children in secondary school. But you could definitely change the direction of your children in primary schools. Encourage your child to play a musical instrument. I know you're going to jump up and say you don't have money to buy organ. You don't have money to buy guitar. Some of you might say you don't have money to buy drum. A shell is only $5. If you have a man and he's a job, insist that he get a shell. Otherwise, send him in the doghouse. You see, anytime a woman is hungry for education, the role the man play going to be reflective of the woman's hunger. So a lot of time, if you want to change a man, you look at the woman. Because the woman could lobby her man. I have my children there and you could blow shell. So I want you to teach them how to blow shell. And as soon as your 5-year-old start to blow shell, most of the neighbors 5 years old going to blow shell too. They're going to think it's magic. Remember, every time the drum beat, your children whining like plane. And look at the lyrics of the song. Crapo, capo pon crapo. All sort of fantastic lyrics, agricultural lyrics, sumptuous lyrics. Sometimes when you hear your child singing, you have to turn your face. Teach your children music. Teach your children music. They will do better in school if they could play in a musical instrument. If you poor and you don't have money to teach your children in school, send them to church. Encourage them to join the choir in the church. And they could take it from there. Once they're in the church choir, go to church too. Tell them bring voice control. You're not going to church to go to heaven or to go to hell, but you're going to church because it gives you an opportunity for your child. We have too much of our boys very disrespectful. They're heading for confrontation with the law. They may not be policemen, but they might end up in the cell. They're disrespectful. They did not do well in school. And they're cussing everybody. Pants falling down. Shoe lace. Every time they open their mouth is venom and pus coming out. And you, the parents, are not proud of them. And they are not proud of themselves. There is a good possibility that they're heading for the jailhouse. And then you're paying a lawyer to defend them. The lawyer want them go in jail. The magistrate want them go in jail. The police want them go in jail. And they're taking your money and say jail them. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my lady.
And how are you today?
Great, man. Good, man.
Mr. Pierre, I listen to different clips on this program. And I heard, I don't know if it's the Minister of Education, Minister of Finance, or whatsoever minister, was saying that they will never pay salary late, and they know how to find money. How comes they not paying the people up there for 5 weeks? And not only these people and them, a lot of people that work with the government, they don't get in pay. What taking place? They don't know where to go for the money now.
The government, they were just telling lies.
Why they telling lies?
Lies. Dennis Cornwall and Lennox Andrew.
Yes.
These two individuals know the government will always fall short now and then. They know that.
They shouldn't fall in short because they know they had know-how.
What know-how they have?
What
They don't have no. They're just telling lies.
They one of the worst.
Lies they're telling.
That is one
And it's
of
better
the
to be
worst.
honest with people. You know what public officers say? Government money show, but it does take long.
Yes, it's a fact.
That is what you learn. Government money show, but it does take long.
But pay the people
So when
hungry.
government change up the system and start to pay twice a week, not twice a week, twice a month, the government themselves put more pressure on the logistics and the manpower. And they're more likely to fall short now
They don't
than
know
before.
what they're doing. They don't know what they're about.
And the government saying they're asking the private sector to do that.
Uh-huh.
And don't surprise, you see a lot of private sector doing that because the private sector is going to save money.
And
So anybody who was paying every week, it would cost them cheaper. The worker would get less money. Because you have 52 weeks in a year. But 4 weeks in a month.
And to put people under more pressure.
So when you're paying
especially-
every week, you end up paying 13 months salary.
And to put people under more pressure, especially people with children.
Yeah, this government is not very sensitive to poor people, children.
Children hungry, people hungry,
Well, people
What
have
happened
to
to
try
them?
to manage their life. A lot of times, the poor people have to manage their life. They're not supposed to be hungry. They have to go back and eat shukako,
Yes.
potato leaf, pumpkin leaf, bamboo shoot.
Yeah, I'm going
Yeah.
to river and hold crayfish.
Go on hold souvet and
Yes.
red tail and book.
And cook bread nut if you have.
Yeah, bread nut.
Yes.
They have to go and do that.
And if you could pong almond and gugu to
Pong almond
and gugu.
and gugu, sock salt.
Yes.
They used to put salt in the cocoa because they didn't have money to buy sugar.
Wait, God is good.
So
Tell
these
them.
people have to prepare to go back and do that.
I heard a man say we get the government what we deserve.
Of course.
We go and mass the government that is there.
You have to learn to bend away and say.
We go and mass them.
Well,
We
these
go and
things,
mass them.
you see, once we ignoring the policy of a government and we listen to old talk, we will get tricked.
We go get tricked.
Yeah.
Who want to take it?
Well, you have
Who
to
want
take it
to
with a
abide
smile.
with it?
You have to be wise. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Those hungry, we greedy, we covetous, we envy.
Yes, because
That's why we end up in that situation.
The NDC always very disrespectful. They always want to treat people with contempt.
I used to hear my old parents say, you see cockapoo and you're taking it for egg.
Yes, sometimes.
The cockapoo man.
Yeah.
Have a blessed evening.
Thank you. You see, the government the NDC have a track record in Grenada of being the most disrespectful group of people. And that is why words come from the nuclei, people in the highest part of the body, people in the executive, referring to people as nasty people and classless. Very disrespectful group. And I think it is because they believe they are the smartest thing in town. And they're walking around and touting their head And we have not been calling them out to it. And they are our children, you know. It's not European children that come here, you know. It's not white people children that come and trick us. You know. It's we that make these kind of children and them, you know. We that make them. Some people, when the children come out away, they're going to live in tongue, you know. They doesn't come back and leave. You know. They can't say crab again, they say cribs. So it's we that make this kind of children. We can't blame nobody. Yes, caller, welcome.
Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Good afternoon.
You don't find it's we that make this kind of children and them? They can't say crab, they say cribs.
Yes, we make them.
We that make them.
And we make them. We encourage them to be a bad and beg.
Yes, we encourage them to. Yeah.
Mr. Pierre, you're going to service my office guy?
If I'm going to service tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Tomorrow is the 25th, you know.
Yes.
That is an import, yeah. I'll go to service. I go to service 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I have harvest in Park come up.
Right.
We celebrating. Yes, no, the American liberate us. They rescue us from shot and side coffee.
Mr. Pierre,
yeah.
you could be so.
No, that isn't right.
American come and they kill 32.
No, man, the American rescue us. Some people dead in the process. No, the American rescue us.
And you go into my office and press them for killing us.
What happened to you? We said tomorrow, caller, you know what has gone in harvest?
What is what?
You know what has gone in harvest?
Yeah.
And I have a big, strong buy, you know. My back end bust, you know.
Right.
So we said, and music, DJ knockout, you know. You never heard knockout?
You still going to press the America for killing us?
Yes, man. Uncle Reagan was the best thing that happened in the country.
Oh, you could be so wicked.
Well, caller, let me tell you why. Let me tell you.
Press the America.
But let me tell you why. Maurice Bishop supervised over the worst crimes after slavery and colonialism.
Which is the crime?
Well, let me tell you now. And then Maurice Bishop and the group fight with one another. Because Bishop he castrate Broco. He castrate Broco. The woman from Burge Grove, they say Maurice Bishop sanctioned she death. He was one of his women.
Well, they say
he put you see Fred. You see how you Fred. You tell you the crime. I tell you the crime.
Let me tell you something. Bishop is the greatest hero in Grenada, and nobody can surpass him.
Caller.
How are you trying it? He could never walk.
Right, let me tell you that. Let me tell you that.
Something.
You know Maurice Bishop.
The next day going to be Maurice Bishop there still.
Well, watch me.
Any day you put, it's going to be Maurice Bishop there. Maurice Bishop is the greatest Grenadian ever passed in this country. This man broke all kind of history in this country.
He was a great orator. He had a lot of charm. And he was popular.
That man changed the Caribbean.
But you know he couldn't manage women. Caller.
He changed Grenada for
you know Bishop couldn't manage women. Tell me who was the baddest woman he had. His wife Ron, Angela Ron.
I don't know who bad, but
they killed the one from Burge Grove. The one in Liver, she used to send. Caller, the woman he had in Liver.
Codites can't change that. None of you, them codites, and them can't change that. I listened to some codites the last time talking about they want to put it on the next day. They go back to 1776. Any day how they put it on. Bishop got broke.
Tell me who was Maurice Bishop's most aggressive keeper.
It will be. If I do the next day, there will be 2 Maurice Bishop there.
Tell me.
Take that from me.
Caller.
2 Maurice Bishop there. Or you can't change that. Maurice Bishop is the greatest religion ever passed. In the Caribbean, matter of fact. In the Caribbean, nobody in the Caribbean work as Maurice Bishop. Maurice Bishop changed the whole Caribbean. He changed Grenada for the better.
You see?
And nobody can change that.
You know what I like?
Bonham and all of them. They could never do that. Jerry,
Caller.
None of them.
Caller, you ever hear about Michael de Freitas?
Them is joke.
You ever no hold on.
Them is
Hold on. You ever hear about Michael de Freitas? You ever hear about Michael de Freitas?
Bishop is the hero.
Yeah, you see, Maurice Bishop was an orator. Maurice Bishop had a lot of charm. He was charismatic. People love him. He spoke on topics that was pertinent at the time. And he was admired in the region and to a large extent in the international community. Because he spoke against imperialism and colonialism at that time. So socialists and Marxists, Leninists, Lenin people would have hailed Maurice Bishop. But Maurice Bishop was a common criminal. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am, good day.
Well, I've listened to your friend.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him, you know.
No, you don't. He doesn't want to listen to me.
I don't blame him at all because what Maurice Bishop do, he was the greatest virtue because no other nobody else ever did what he did.
No other leader in the Caribbean lock up 3,000 people.
Yes, and you see, from since the young people and them they don't have no respect for elderly, even though they
because of the pioneers, they come in with a gun.
Maurice Bishop. But because parents couldn't talk to children in those days,
no.
They can open their mouth and say anything. Maurice Bishop would call all this disrespect in Grenada here especially. Maurice Bishop, I don't know, I wonder if he knew really, the past he used to be in the Pierre, Maurice Bishop had started this bloody thing when they say about bloody what. I could remember when they start to say Geo-Go game, when they overthrow the morning, from since after that, anytime I hear this kind of music playing, I get about they had a song singing, water in Zimbabwe, blood go run as water. That is the song Maurice Bishop had. The morning when we get up, that is the first song. And then I heard the dictator Gary had been overthrown. What is man talking about? Maurice Bishop was called all crime and criminal in Grenada.
Yes, caller. Thank you.
Have a good day.
And we're coming to the end of the program now. I'll take this opportunity to read out one or two things on Facebook. It's a long time ago. Read it on the social media. And Big Baby Daddy. They're telling me number 10 saying that 150 is temporary and there is people sitting in parliament know that, but that's for another day. Number 10 basically has lost your way. You see, number 10 is a mathematical calculation. In a democratic country, number 10 is a sad story. Because if individuals, after they sell themselves to the public, they sell their programs and plan to the public, and the public supported them, and then after election, somebody else come and buy them, that is a threat to democracy. Number 10 is a threat to democracy. And that's why it's so important for us to make certain that our children get the best chance on the job market. And we must examine our politicians and question them. Sometimes we have to protect them, For we party to win, we harbor all kind of cry baby that weak among us. And that is some of the challenges that we have. Right? So it's, remember, tomorrow, October 25th, Wednesday, we in a celebrating mood. It's a good reason to celebrate. The people involved in Grenada Revolution had an internal conflict. The conflict was about joint leadership. One fraction felt that the economy was not doing well. The revolution has lost its way. The party was not doing well. and they sit down and come up with suggestions how to address it, what to deal with it. And one of the fundamental issues was joint leadership. Maurice Bishop agreed with joint leadership. He did not disagree with the principle of joint leadership, but he had difficulties with the workability. Caller, you have to punch. We come to the end, so you just have to punch. Go right ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, caller, go right ahead. Punch.
Let me say to the good afternoon to you and to the listener. Let me say to the gentleman that was attacking me and feel that I want to.
Caller. Let me deal with that the next day, because we come on the end of the program.
All right, no problem.
Right? I'll remember. Call me early on Thursday. Right, caller?
I will try to.
Yes.
Good.
Call me early on Thursday. Yes, so that was the situation. The conflict broke out. Maurice Bishop agreed for it to be put to the vote. 9 persons, I believe, voted for joint leadership. 3 persons voted against joint leadership. Maurice Bishop abstained. So joint leadership win. Remember, Maurice Bishop wasn't against joint leadership, but he had difficulties with the workability. How you gonna work? After much discussion, he agreed for it to go to the vote. And the matter went to the vote. That is the highest body in the revolution, was the Central Committee. 9 persons supported joint leadership. 3 persons was against joint leadership. Maurice Bishop abstained. So joint leadership win. Maurice Bishop evoked the Angola option. Once Maurice Bishop evoked the Angola option, it turned a battlefield. A battlefield was waiting to happen. The students intervened and removed Maurice Bishop from house arrest. Maurice Bishop and his group directed the children on the fort. And while they're on the fort, Bishop and his group on the fort used the opportunity to reestablish power. The first thing they did was say, we have a car with guns. We want 200 people go to reestablish communication with the rest of the world. Reestablish communication with the rest of the world. Because when he was in prison, he couldn't call Castro, he couldn't call nobody. And then they gave many communiques, including Bernard Code, Ewart Lane, Liam something, about 8, 9 of them, report to the nearest police station. Maurice Bishop was preparing for battle. He had women and children there, and he used the women and children as shield. I challenged the committee that set up to determine who is Grenada hero, investigate the case in Burggrove. It was alleged that Maurice Bishop sanctioned the death or he smothered the investigation. Investigate that case. Tell the public, if you disagree with me, that Maurice Bishop didn't hide behind women and children throughout his life. Tell the public whether or not Maurice Bishop evoked the Angola option. And give your opinion what you believe would have happened after Maurice Bishop evoked the Angola option. I advance the view. Maurice Bishop was a criminal. He was a coward. He was not a hero. And he was not martyred. But he was a great orator. He had charm and charisma. And at this point, I encourage you to research Michael de Freitas. You might understand what a man with charm could do. Michael de Freitas. You could put Trinidad near it. You will end up quick. He was one of the individuals instrumental in getting Notting Hill Carnival out in the public. In getting Notting Hill Carnival out in the public. His mother was from Barbados. Say she's a Ovia woman. You see, we have to do more. Some of the individuals that want to defend political party, you have to ask them questions. Those mouthpieces for political parties, you have to ask them questions. And the Deacon Mitchell seems to be setting up dummy committees. Like the committee set up for GDB Bank to facilitate members of his party to access loan from government coffers. They couldn't get loan. It would have been difficult for them to get this kind of loan from the commercial banks. Look at the committee they set up as a whitewash for MNIB. And this committee for the 50 years celebration could be another sham. Decisions already made, but the committee is a rubber stamp. So I challenge the committee today. Next time a journalist get an opportunity, Dr. Bob, ask them about the Angola option. Ask them about the woman in Burge Grove that was executed. Ask them what part Maurice Bishop played in the castration of Broko. Ask them what Desmond Trotter tell Bishop that caused him to hate Rasta so. And remember, coming Paraclete tomorrow, Holy Spirit Harvest, let's celebrate October 25th. When the 19th come, we will celebrate again. But tomorrow is October 25th. Thank you very much.